Good afternoon, everybody. It's David Perlmutter from Quantum Listing, and welcome to today's webinar, Do's and Don'ts of Quantum Listing. And Julia, our Customer Success Manager, is going to be taking the helm today. So, hello, Julia. How are you today?
Hello there. Hello there, David. Thank you for having me on and for hosting this webinar. So today's webinar, it is called the Do's and Don'ts of Quantum Listing. And if you actually want to check out the chat, you can see that we're going to be pretty much following along from a recent blog post that was done a couple of weeks ago, where we're basically walking you through a few different important elements of our site and telling you kind of the key tips that you should keep in mind while you're going about your business and some things to make sure to avoid. So you can go ahead and click that link. And David, do you want to just go to the next slide until we kind of go to the site, and then we can go from there. So for those of you, I know some familiar faces on here. I'm sorry, is someone asking something? Nope. Okay.
Julia, I don't see the link. Is there or just the what you're putting up showing?
Oh yeah, so there should be like a blog post in we'll get there. So I just was letting you guys know that you can reference this at any point if you're just curious kind of what we're talking about, or if you want to jump ahead, because some of them are about joining, and like Sue, you've already joined, so you don't need to worry too much about that part. But for those of you who have not joined Quantum Listing or who need a refresher, Quantum Listing is a commercial real estate listing site. Our general price is we get the first month free, and it's $89.99 per year, not per listing, not per month. People always question that. But really our theory is to give your listings the best exposure possible without having a major impact on your budget. So as you can see here with Quantum Listing, you can post an unlimited number of listings. There's a whole bunch of ways to market them both on our site and on social media. And there's also no paywall or registration wall. So that means that people can look at your listings without even logging in, without signing up. Even though it is free to look at listings, you don't need to pay if you're not adding listings, unless you want to take advantage of some of our marketing features. But there's just no barrier for people. Sometimes you might be searching for real estate, you have no intention of signing up for a different commercial site, and you're not even able to access the price of the listing because they make you register and create an account, and that's really frustrating. So we want people to come to your listing right away. They'll see your contact information, they can give you a call, they can submit a lead, and it's really easy. So we'll just kind of go over today's agenda just to kind of give you a brief overview. So as I mentioned, we're talking about the do's and don'ts of Quantum Listing. So we're going to go through 5 main pillars of the site. There's a whole lot more that we could do, and we could really do a blog post like this every month, honestly, and get into some nitty gritties. But this is our first time doing a post like this or a webinar like this. So we're going to kind of cover the basics today. So first, we're going to talk about what you should do when you're signing up, and also what you should not do. We also are going to give you some tips when you're making your profile. And we'll also give you some tips on how to add listings. I should say listings there. And how to market your listings, as well as if you're searching for properties. So that's kind of the overview of today. I'm going to go ahead and take the screen here, and
oh, that was good. We needed that.
Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Someone's playing Jeopardy.
Hang on a second.
Here, I'll get muted. No worries. We've never had someone listening to Jeopardy during our webinar, but that's always a first. Unable to mute Sue, so maybe she can do it, or David. So when you are coming to our site for the very first time and you're looking to register, it's really easy. You can just click this green join button from anywhere on the top of the page, and all you really have to do is fill in your first name, your last name, your email address. You can see here that these 3 fields are all required because they have an asterisk. The phone number and website, we recommend you put it in, but some people, they just don't have a website that's relevant, or they don't have a work number that they want to submit. So that's totally fine too. Although if you do have listings, that is going to be the phone number that people see when they visit your listing. So we definitely recommend that you add a phone number if you're going to be posting a listing. And so after you've typed in your first name, we'll do a kind of a test one here. Webinar, we'll call it webinar test 1027, really creative. And I just want to walk you guys through kind of what to do here and what to look out for. I'm going to skip the phone number and website. Oh, actually, I'll put my phone number. You guys can have my phone number. That's fine. Call me all you want. And the website, we'll put Quantum Listing. You can't know my password. And so here is kind of one of the most important things to keep in mind when you're signing up. So the first do that we have under signing up is to register for the appropriate membership. So what that means is making sure you select a membership type that applies to what you want to do when you're on our site. I will tell you, don't worry too much about this, because if you do select the wrong membership, or you have a change of needs, maybe you started off without listings and now you're a broker, or maybe you started off with a big company and now you're doing your own thing, we can always change the membership type. You can just contact our support team. We'll get you that information later on, but it's really easy. In fact, if you were having a problem right now and you didn't even want to click somewhere else, you could click this little button right here, the intercom button, and you can see here that there would be a way to get in contact with us, and we reply very quickly on this. But we also reply quickly on email and phone calls and all that. So I'll just kind of walk you through here what's most important. So most people are going to probably register as an individual membership. That's kind of our standard membership. Basic would be if you're not planning on posting listings. So this is a completely free membership. Keep in mind that you'll always get the first month free, whether you pick an individual or an enterprise. The only exception to that rule is if you choose to be a white glove member, which basically means we add your listings for you. Then you don't get a free trial, only because we're not going to spend hours adding 30 listings for you and then have you cancel your membership. That wouldn't be too fun for us. But generally speaking, the enterprise membership, that is for someone who might have multiple agents who are all part of the same company. And one of the cool things about the enterprise membership is it allows you to add a manager. So if you wanted to have one person, your marketing person, to manage all the listings and then add agents, you can do that through the enterprise account. So it's really important that you at least just keep this in mind when you're starting, because if you choose a basic account and then you want to add listings, I'll show you what will happen is you won't be able to add listings, but what you can do is you can click upgrade. And then click a individual membership. So that is kind of just what we recommend. But also, you can always reach out to us, and we can easily actually switch you to an individual membership. I'll show you how easy that is right now.
Julie, let me just interject one quick thing, and that is basic members can submit wants listings. So
oh yes, thank
if
you.
you
Yes.
have if you want to crowdsource your requirement, or you're a tenant looking for space and want the world to know, you can easily post a want listing without having to pay. That just requires basic membership.
Thank you. That is a good point. And I much appreciate it. And while you interjected, I was able to switch this membership from a basic to an individual. So that was good timing. And so now you can see here, there's no longer a green upgrade button, and now it says, please select your membership. Typically, if you had joined right off the bat as an individual member, it would bring you to this page here. And this is just where you select your free trial, and it brings you to PayPal so you can finish your transaction. So that is just like the first thing you're going to want to do if you're looking to add listings is just start your membership. Um, the second major point that we have for when you sign up, our second major, the thing that you want to do is to schedule a demo. So every single page on our site has this nice and easy to find green schedule a demo button. This will sync up to our calendars, and there are a variety of options. I know we have some people on the call today. I know at least Sue and maybe a couple others have been on some of these virtual lunches or Q&As, and they're always really fun. It's a great way just for us to get to know you and understand your needs, and also for you guys to get to know us, and for most importantly, you to learn quantum listing. And so when you are going about this, you really don't have to worry which one you select, but we recommend just picking the time frame that works for you. If you want to have a 60-minute session, be sure to click that so that you block off our calendars, and then we're all yours for the full 60 minutes, and nothing else will get scheduled during that time. So that's the second major thing we recommend you do after you have selected your membership. The third thing, which I already touched upon, is to contact our support team. So the first way to do that, I already mentioned, this little intercom button in the bottom right corner is on every single page. In fact, I bet if I send a message, I bet we'll hear back within this webinar from someone on our team. So that's one way to get in touch with our support team. Another way to get in touch, you can click this contact button, and you can see here there's a phone number that you can call. There's a support email, there's David's email, and then there's also my email. I'll type it right here, is julia@quantumlisting.com. It's very easy to remember. It's my name and then the website. And you also can make suggestions or submit questions through here. So there's really there's an endless amount of ways to get in touch with us, between the intercom button, the demo button, or this contact page, and of course calling or emailing. And you can also look at our How It Works articles. So if you are, maybe you're someone who likes to do your work at 2 in the morning, and we're not necessarily on our website at 2 in the morning every night, maybe some nights, you can go ahead and type in how to add a listing, and you can find this page here that says how to add a listing. So that is another resource that you definitely can be sure to look at as well. We also recommend, and David has already replied to my message saying, "Hi, how can I help you today?" So that just shows, I can't say he'll always do it in like 30 seconds, but one of us will always get back to you within, I want to say within the hours, plural. We are, a small team, but we are a strong team who values customer care. We definitely always get back to people on the same business day. So that is just another thing to keep in mind. And you also should definitely make sure that you look out for emails. So when you join our site, you will join our email list if you're not already a part of it. And when you do that, you'll get a set of emails called Quantum Listing Academy. You actually can look at Quantum Listing Academy from the How It Works page by clicking this section 8 here. And it goes through a variety of lesson plans, how to add a profile picture, how to add your social media, and various things like that. So be sure to, look at your emails and reach out and try the things. We try to come down into small chunks so that they're easy to use. So there are three things that we, so there's three things that we kind of say, don't do. And I'll kind of just read them off for you, but, we kind of just want to make sure that people are aware of things they should avoid. So one thing is, don't create an account and then never sign back in. So the reason we say that is obvious, but we don't want you to stop once you register. And the more that we'll get to this in a second, but the more that you add to your profile and the more that you add listings and interact, the more deals that you're going to foster, and the more interactions you're going to make. And also the more that Google and other search engines will like you. So the more you use our site, the better it is for you, and your listings and your commercial real estate practice. So another thing that we kind of, I don't want to say warn because warn's kind of a negative thing, but another thing that we want to make sure you keep in mind is that if you do want to add listings, make sure that you don't forget to start your subscription because then you can't add your listings. And the third thing is just to keep in mind your membership, which we already talked about. So that is everything for starting your membership. We're going to move on to the next section, which is making your profile. So the most important thing with adding to your profile is to add as much content as possible. So I already alluded to this, but that means adding your website, your bio, all of your social media that you have that's relevant, and also a profile photo and a company logo if you have one. Again, this will make you look better on our site when people come to visit your page, but it also will drive more traffic. Oops, sorry about that. It will also drive more traffic to your page from search engines. So it's really a win-win, the more content and the more images that you add. And this goes for listings too, which we'll get to as well. But you also can see here when you do join, you get a little journey of you get greeted by David, and then it tells you what to do. So it tells you to select your membership. It tells you to add to your profile, pretty much everything I'm telling you right now. And it walks you through our sidebar, as well as the marketing center that helps you kind of increase your listing exposure. And lastly, it says thank you. So that's a cool little thing. I wonder if there's a way to keep that like as a button so that you can remind yourself. Maybe we should talk about that, David. Make a little note there. Because I really like that little journey. I think it's fun. And we did work hard on that. So what you're going to do, as you saw here, is you're going to click this button and you're going to click edit. For the sake of time, I'm not going to add all this information right now, but if you do already have a quantum listing profile, go into your profile, click the edit button, and add your website, add your photo, add your bio, and all of these links here, because that's really, really going to help you. I know, Sue, you've been great with that, and hopefully you've seen results there. But it's really a no-brainer. And even if you're a basic member, you're still going to want people to be looking at your wants if you're posting wants, or perhaps you just have, your bio and you want people to contact you because they have listings. So this is really the best thing that you can do. So that's kind of the most important thing on your profile. Do you have anything to add here, David? That section was pretty short.
So, say it again, Jeff.
Oh, I just said, do you have anything to add in terms of like creating your profile that I didn't already talk about? Just because that section was pretty short, but it's really like it's one answer: add content, add content, add content.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can add your broker's license if your state requires you to. And then the other thing about your profile is that there's that copy profile link button there.
Yeah.
And it's great to add to your email signature or share it to social media so that people can see all your listings and how wonderful you are.
There you go. There you have it. So the next section that we talk about is adding listings. And so this user actually does not have the ability to add listings yet. And can anyone guess why? I'll give you 10 seconds. Who knows why this user can't add listings? Pop quiz.
Basic member.
Well, they're not a basic member. They were. We upgraded them. So that was a good point. But you can see here that it says please select their membership. So they haven't yet created their subscription to add listings. So what you're going to want to do when you do want to add listings, you can see it doesn't let you. So I'm going to very quickly and sorry.
I'll enable that.
Okay. All right. Well, David's going to enable that. So while he does that, I will walk you guys through, or I'll give you a couple of tips for adding listings. So everything honestly is very straightforward when you add a listing. There's a couple of things that I'll show you that are, something to keep your eye out for, but the most important thing you can do is have a good title, a good description, and good photos. So a good title, something to keep in mind is have the user in mind when you are adding a title. And I mean, when I say user, I really mean like your future buyer, your future tenant, or whatever that may be. So think about what someone is going to be searching on search engines while they're eventually going to land on your property. So if you were to add a listing and just have it be some generic thing like, corner property for sale. Well, corner property for sale doesn't tell me where it is. It doesn't tell me what kind of property it is. So it's really important to kind of give those types of details. The other thing is that you can actually add as many listings as you want, even for the same property. So I know David does this, and he can kind of touch upon that a little more. But in this case scenario, you really can, there's no limit like on other sites where you only can add one listing at a time. So what we do recommend is that you do a listing title. Maybe if you have a retail property on Main Street, search, call it retail for lease on Main Street in uh, Greenwich, Connecticut, for example. I say Greenwich because we had an amazing situation where a user wanted their listing to show up on the top of Google searches for a very specific search request. They were already having success with the listing address. So they originally named the listing their full address of their property. And when you search that property on Google, it showed up on the first page along with other sites as well. We said, okay, well, why don't you create another listing that has that same property, but has a title that you want? For example, I think it was retail for lease in Greenwich, Connecticut. And they named it that. Maybe it was Greenwich Avenue.
Yep.
And I think within like 3 or 4 days, it might have been a week, that exact search showed up on Google. And the cool thing was that all of the other listing sites, it was bringing people to a landing page with maybe 40 properties, 30 properties. But for us, it was actually bringing them directly to their listing. So people didn't have to sift through, all the filters to find the right property. They were going right from Google or Bing or wherever directly to your listing. And that was a huge success story. So um, while I was talking, it looks like David added time onto the membership, which is really nice. I didn't get out my wallet today. But when you click add listing, this is where you're going to have a descriptive title. So, put in your asset type, your trade type, and the location at the very least. The description is also important because this is also going to show up on search engines as well. And I'm not the SEO expert at Quantum Listing, but it has a great deal to do with all the keywords and various things that you see when you search on search engines. And other than that, the most important thing is to make sure you have good quality images. Not only will search engines like it better. I mean, we've had situations with Google when we're running Google ads where if somebody doesn't have a strong image, it won't even accept it. So they really do care about that. But also, I mean, if you're looking on our site, and we're not going to throw any people's listings under the bus here, but if you're scrolling through, and first of all, some people don't even have listing images, which a lot of times that's because they're coming in from build out, or from Sharp Launch or from another company who they have to check a box in order to allow for the images to syndicate. And so we usually try to get in contact with those users, but sometimes it's hard to keep up with. But regardless, so you can see here, certain listings, the images just catch your eye. And when you are searching for real estate, as you all know, you're going to be drawn to the beauty and what looks good. And so, having a flip phone photo, which I don't know how many people still have flip phones, is probably not the best. Fortunately, iPhones now are good enough that you really can probably take some high quality images. I think most people do that now, but correct me if I'm wrong. And one thing with that is like, don't skip adding the image initially. So what I mean by that is don't be like, oh, I'll add that image when I find it on my computer. If you're going to do that, just don't even publish the listing yet. The reason I say that is because as soon as you add your listing, it's going to show up at the top of our searches. We show the most recent image photos first, the most recent listings first. And so wait till it is how you want it to be to post it, because it's going to get a lot of exposure, especially the first couple of days. It's also going to be added to our social media wait list. I say wait list because we have a lot of listings and we share every single listing. So images are really important. If you want to add your information and not publish it, you can always just make sure that you don't click this publish button. Although one major tip to keep in mind is if you are looking to publish it, make sure you click this publish button and also that you have the rights to all the images. That's just a legal thing so that nobody gets in trouble here and everyone is posting their own photos. Another tip here is that you can promote your listing, which is part of our on-demand marketing center. And it's just $2.50 per week or $7.50 per month. And what it does is it brings your listing to the top of searches in your market and highlights it in a nice, pretty green box. So that's another thing that we recommend. A couple of other small little tips. Just make sure that when you type in the location, so make sure that you select it from the drop-down menu. Sometimes people will, type in the location and then they just kind of go on to the next box, and you want to make sure that you're selecting it and that there's a pin right there. Another kind of thing to keep in mind is if you leave the rent or the price at 0, it will show up as inquire. And I think a lot of people do that, and it kind of brings in more leads. It's strategic, and everyone has different kind of points of views and strategies, but it is something that you can try if you want to leave the price off and leave it at 0. It's will show up as inquire. So that's another kind of key tip to keep in mind. I think we are going to move on from the listing, adding listings, unless anyone has any questions or comments. Obviously, as always, you can get in touch with us if you have problems, and people get in touch with us, and we'll help you. We promise. So, and you can be a white glove member, which would skip you having to add your listings entirely, and that's $159 a year instead of $89 a year. So once you have added your listings, we recommend that you take advantage of our marketing center. And the marketing center has a few different avenues to go. And, there's endless ways to promote your listings on our site and on search engines, or on the internet in general, not just search engines, on social media and whatnot. But the kind of main points that we have on our marketing center are the first one is listing promotion, which I already talked about, and that is the one that basically brings your listings to the top of searches. So I can kind of show you what that looks like here. Right now I'm just looking at kind of New York State overall, just to show you guys what it looks like. David has a monopoly here because he has listings in New York, but you can see that his listings are promoted because they have that green box. And he also has a nice example of brand promotion here, which is another part of our marketing center. And brand promotion is basically an advertisement that you can create. If you don't have the marketing team, or if you have questions, we will help you create this. I would say of all of the brand promotions on our site, I would say 50% of them we helped make and 50% the user made. And sometimes it's some combination of the two where they help us and we help them. The reason that we recommend doing this is, first of all, it gives your company or your personal brand more exposure. But it also, a kind of a good idea is to add a call to action here, because when people see this, if there's a call to action, and regardless, if they click on this, it brings the user directly to your profile with all of your listings. So this is a really, really great way to get additional exposure. And maybe you don't have one listing that you want to promote and you just want to promote all of your listings. This would be the best way to do that. We also have an online advertisement, which is a Google ad. And basically that is, it essentially uses the Google Display Network. And it's not the kind of ad that you see when like you do a Google search and there's like 3 advertisements at the top. That's different, but this is a display ad. So this will show up on websites that you're searching. And we could do an entire webinar on Google ads, honestly, but what I will say about them is that from our experience with other advertisements, whether it be, Facebook or whatever, LinkedIn, the ROI that you get on this is like outstanding. We had a marketing, we had somebody who is the head of a marketing company, Becca Carlson, and she used our Google ads and she got like 30,000 views and it was for $25 spend. She got a showing out of it. It was a huge success story. And it's really a very minimal cost for a very strong reward. We definitely recommend that. And that's kind of all I'll say about the Google ads, unless people have questions, but we definitely highly recommend them. The last thing here is, so there's a few different ways you can send an email blast on our site. One way is to send a blast. Actually, you can send a blast of your listing, or actually of another person's listing. So I could go ahead and go to David's listing here, and this red share button, it's kind of a generic share button. If you click on it, you can click the email button, and you can actually upload a CSV file or an XLS or XLSX, whichever you use, from your computer. All you need to do is have one column with only email addresses, and it will blast out your listing to all of those individuals. It is unbelievably quick, and extremely easy to use. If you don't have a pre-existing CRM, or if you don't use, Canva or whatever, it's really great because it creates your own little template, and it takes probably 30 seconds to do. So that's one way that you can send an email blast out. We also have what's called our network email blasts, which are what's talked about here. And you actually get the first one free. And after that, it's either $25 for one blast, or we have plans where you could do like $100 for 5 blasts, $200 for 12 blasts, etc. And with the email blast, what happens is you're actually, instead of using your proprietary list, like on the other one where you're uploading your own information, which is all secure, by the way, no one takes that information. In this case, you're actually taking advantage of QuantumListing's email lists. So obviously, if you're on this webinar today, you received an email about our webinar. So we have an extensive list of emails from our commercial real estate market in every state, because we are a national, we're a national listing site, but we also we have global listings as well. But talking specifically about the U.S., we have emails in every state, and we want to help you kind of diversify your email list and send out the email to maybe a couple hundred or a couple thousand people that you never normally would contact. Email still is the most effective way to market your property. So we definitely recommend that at the very least, try the free blast. There's no reason not to. So that is our marketing center. We do have, a bundled package where you can kind of take advantage of what we talked about for like a bundled price. And then brand promotion was what we talked about with the example, the Perimeter Properties example. And if you want more examples of brand promotion, send me an email and I'll happily send them over to you. There's a lot of different things that people do, and I think it's a really great way to get extra advertisement. I'm going to take a sip of water while I move on to the next section. And if anyone has any comments or questions, feel free to jump in. Quiet group. Everyone just in awe.
Yeah.
All right, so our last section that we're talking about, so just as a reminder, so far we talked about how to sign up, how to make your profile, how to add a listing, how to market your listings. And lastly, we want to talk a little bit about looking for listings because, sometimes I think that I assume everyone on here has listings, and not everybody does. And even those that do have listings may be looking for listings. So, that is the purpose of our website, is for people to look for listings. And so we want to make sure we cover kind of some of the do's and don'ts on that front. So, oops. Okay. So I would say that the number one thing that people want when they're on our site is they want leads. And when you are looking for listings, there are a number of ways that you can actually kind of submit your information to an agent so that they get a lead and they call you. If you're not patient, which is totally fine because I'm not patient, or if you are in a very motivated mood, or maybe you're in a rush, first of all, this form will always pop up within 10 to 15 seconds of viewing a listing. All you have to do is click this add request button, which I am not going to do because I don't want to give this nice member a false lead, since I'm not interested in 11 acres in Alabama. I'm sure it's a great property, but I do not live in Alabama, nor am I looking to buy land. However, that is how you would do it. If you miss the pop-up, or you later on decide you want to do that, there's two other ways to submit a lead. One would be by clicking this button up here, and you'll see the same button right there, because we know sometimes people are scrolling and we don't want you to miss out on your chance. So you can also click here, and that will also submit a lead. But like I was saying, if you're really motivated and you want to get in touch right away, you can click this little plus button, and what do you know? Kenny's information is right there. So you can, if you're a member, you can send him a chat message by clicking this little enter chat button. Or you can call him up, email him, visit his website. There's a number of ways to get in touch. So we definitely recommend doing that. Another thing that you can do is you can save a listing. So say you're looking at this and you think, okay, I know I'm interested, I'm not sure, but I want to come back to it. You can click this little ribbon, and you see when you hover over it, there's a tooltip that says click to add the listing to saved listings. And you can go ahead and click on that. I believe that it does give the user a notification, and so I'm not going to click on it again, only because I don't want to give a false lead, but instead I will go to David's listings, because David can get as many notifications as I want, and we don't have to worry about it. So you actually can save listings from the profile page too by clicking this ribbon. So you can do it there, or you can, and you see that it becomes green when you do that, or you can do it from the listing page, and go ahead and it will also add it to your saved listings. So that is a very useful tool. A lot of the other tools that are useful here are the note function, which I know, David, I know you use these a lot, but this is, even if you want to write down the name of somebody who you're working with, or the price, there's a variety of different things you can write down, but you'll be able to access all of your notes and your saved listings from your profile page when you go back to your profile page on the sidebar menu, which I will show you. And that is, you can also just write a compliment, right? Great listing. And by the way, all the notes are private, so only you're going to view them, and you can make notes on your own listings as well as other people's listings. So don't worry that someone might read them. They're all just for you. With that being said, David and I can obviously log into your profile if we needed to. So don't write something like, don't write your deepest, darkest secrets, just in case we ever look at it by accident. but it's not something that any other user can ever see. Another thing you can do is you can create a listing report by clicking this plus button, and it looks like we already have a listing report here, but basically what happens then is you can see this little ribbon here. There's 5 listings, and it will create a list of all those listings with key information such as the asset type, trade type, square foot, price. And you can send it out via email. You can download it as a PDF. You can create an iframe to copy onto a website. And the other thing that's nice is when you email it, it's not just like a blank page that is unclickable. It has links. They're all active links. So you can see here, I can click on Chappaqua. I can click on this restaurant for sale or lease in Nevada, Missouri. And there's a whole bunch of really useful parts of listing reports. It's a great thing that you can return to clients and show them, I found these listings. Let me know what you think. And you can create a new report and delete the current one. So it's very, very easy to do that. The other kind of there's a lot of tools on the listings that you can kind of explore, and everything has a tooltip. So if you're ever curious, you can just kind of hover over and learn while you go. But I would say that the most important search tool to know about is probably the filter button. So you can do this a variety of ways. If you just click the quantum listing button at any point, you will see all of the listings that are most recent. And also, if you were, let's pretend you're logged out, you can enter a location here. And I'm going to start a really broad search only because I want to show you how to filter down and find a property that you're looking at. So I'm actually just going to type in, Florida. If you're looking for a listing in Florida, you're probably not wanting to look at, thousands of listings because you don't have time for that. But I will show you how to filter down to something a little bit more specific. And here there's another brand promotion from our partners at Regis International Workplace Group. So what you're going to want to do is click the search filter button. And now you can narrow it down a little bit. So you're not going to want to click radius in this case because that would expand the radius, and we don't really want to expand it beyond the entire state of Florida. But if you had, for example, searched a very small city, you could say, okay, I want to see everything 100 miles from there. So say you are looking for an office to lease in Florida. You can go ahead and click asset type, office for lease. Now, this is probably still going to give you a lot of listings. So we went from, 4,000, I think it was 4,500 or something, 4,900 to 1,500. So we're still seeing a lot here. So we can expand it even smaller. How many square feet do we want? Give me a number, David.
Minimum 10,000 square feet. It'd be a nice juicy deal.
Minimum of 10,000?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, all right. All right, so we're going to do anything that has a minimum of 10,000 square feet. And now we have created 79 listings in our search result, which, just went down from 1,500, previously down from 5,000 about. Another thing that you could do in a different circumstance is if you wanted to expand your search. So I'm from Sherburne, Massachusetts. If anyone on here has ever heard of Sherburne besides David, email me and I'll give you a reward. It's a very small town in the Boston area. Maybe Google doesn't even know about it. Hold on. So, sorry about that. We're having a little, oh, you know what? I know why. Okay, so we're going to type it in from here. Sherborne, Massachusetts. All right. Very, very pretty. So we actually have 40. Oh, okay. We have 40 listings in the Sherburne area. You might be saying, okay, I'm only looking at office. Again, I'm on the office train. I don't know. I think I'm itching to get into an office. I need to go into a co-working office soon because working from home is making me a little crazy. But so you could say I'm looking for an office for lease in the Sherburne area, and I want to say 20 miles. Actually, how about 10? 10's a more realistic commute. So you can go ahead and click apply filters, and now we get 20 listings. Funny enough, this is actually my street that I grew up on, so I'm really interested to see what this is. But that's, a really great way that this is bizarre. Sorry, everybody. Okay, don't worry about it. I will come back to that later. But so there's, like I said, there's a way to filter down from a large search, and there's also a way to expand from a much smaller search. A few other things to know is that if you don't see a listing that you're looking for, or you don't have time to do a search, you can always come to the home page and create a search request. So again, going off of my office search, you can say you're looking for 2 offices within a suite, looking in Sherburne, Massachusetts, of course. We'll say a minimum of 1,000, maximum of 2,000. I don't know. Maximum budget. I'm going to skip this, but there's a whole bunch of information, and then you kind of submit your own name and your email and phone. And then what's going to happen is you're going to get emails every week saying what is under your requirements and what shows up under searches. And then if nothing shows up today, but something comes up in 2 weeks, you'll get an email about it, and you won't need to feel like you need to check the site every day. You're welcome to check the site every day.
So that says I want to get weekly email updates so that you get them.
True. Yes, you do want to confirm that this information can be shared with a professional, and you also want to check that you want weekly updates.
The first box is if you want a real estate professional to reach out to you. So if you're a broker, you may want to not check that box. But if you're a tenant or buyer, you're more likely to want to check that first box.
Thank you. Yes. So this is, I'll put this little link in the chat if anyone wants to create a search request right now. Oh, sorry, Sue. I saw you had a question. Is there a way to send a blast regarding a sold listing? Yes, I think that you could, but I don't know about the second part of your question, even if you were not the listing, but the selling agent. I think you could do that, right, David?
Yes. So the answer is you can switch the transaction type to a sold transaction before you send out the blast, and that would take care of it.
Right. Yes, that is a good point. And Sue, if you have any questions on that, we can talk afterwards too. So
question from Greg asking if he has a resort that he's selling in Nicaragua, and he wanted to know if he could post that on QuantumListing.
Yeah.
And the answer,
there's a Puerto Rico listing right here.
Rico,
but yeah, the answer is yes.
There's some in Belize. We have in Canada. I think we have listings in Nigeria. There's a host of other countries.
Yeah, there's kind of a little bit of everything, honestly.
U.S. currency, and it'll be acres, and whatever the units of measurement we use here in America. But it does not. So it's not localized, but you can still post it.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, so I'm just going to wrap up with the last 2 points, which these were the don'ts under the the blog post I've been referencing, and I'll pull it up just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And you can always refer back to this if you're hearing what we covered today. So one thing we say is don't search for a city and then exit the page when you don't see your ideal listing. So in that case, you can request more information by filling out the search form, or you can expand your search using the filter we talked about. The other thing we say is don't simply wait around expecting the agent to call you the second you submit a lead. So we leave your contact information on your listing for a reason, and that is that people can get in touch with you. So if you come across a listing that you like and you say, okay, I just put in my information and I'm waiting for the agent to contact me, if you don't hear from them within a day or two, feel free, or even the day of, feel free to call them and leave a voicemail or send an email. You know, the more I think the more that they know you're interested, the more likely they will be to get back to you. And those were just kind of two little tips. You know, this, like I said, this blog post could literally be like an entire book, honestly. Maybe we'll one day publish a book about it, but right now we'll wait for the next do's and don'ts blog post if you guys thought this was a helpful thing to do. In the meantime, I'm going to kind of go back to our slide deck, and if anyone has any other questions, either put them in the chat or feel free to just unmute yourself at this point. I'll pull up just our contact and pricing page so that everyone has it. And, you know, thank you for being here. I know we were aiming for a shorter webinar and that didn't happen. So thanks for bearing with us and being great participants. The pricing, you know, is, we talked about it a little bit, but this is the pricing for all of our various marketing features as well as our membership. And more importantly, the contact information is right here. But I will also in the chat put my email, which I already wrote earlier, and I'll put David's email. But as you can see here, the support email is support@quantumlisting.com. My email is julia@quantumlisting.com, and David's is, can anyone guess? David@quantumlisting.com. You can always call us, intercom, demo, how it works, blog posts, you know it. And we hope to see you back on our webinars. We have a couple of exciting ones coming up. Next week, we have someone talking about the impact of the climate on our real estate market, the current climate crisis. And we will have another webinar guest later this month talking, David, or can you remind me what the next topic is after climate?
I believe it's due diligence.
Due diligence. Okay. Well, very important things that are coming up. But without further ado, most importantly, thank you guys for being here. And we will stick around, but I think we'll turn off the recording so that those who want to ask questions off the air can do so.
All right, before we turn off the recording, I want to say thank you, Julia, and we've been getting messages in the chat thanking you for all the great advice you gave, and the participants are planning on deploying it post-haste. So thank you.
Great. Happy to hear that. All right.